Viewer discretion is advised.
Boom, perfect timing.
In January of 2024, I received an email from a recently retired Dallas firefighter. He reached out to me after watching a video on my channel titled "California Cop Arrests Sober Driver for DUI, Secret Audio Recording Exposed Lies." He found the video remarkably similar to his own unjustified arrest for driving while intoxicated. In his email, he attached body cam and dash cam footage that allegedly reveals Denton County Sheriff's deputies fabricating evidence to establish probable cause and ultimately unlawfully arresting him. After carefully reviewing the videos multiple times and conducting further investigation into the case, I couldn't help but ponder certain questions. Are there incentives for law enforcement officers to maximize DWI arrests? And if they do, doesn't that mean that innocent people could end up in jail? These deputies appeared disturbingly at ease while subjecting Thomas to this ordeal. Moreover, where exactly are these deputies acquiring such dubious tactics? Thomas left work early to attend a tax appointment and file his taxes. While driving home from the appointment, he noticed a Denton County Sheriff's Police cruiser parked in his lane at an angle. Thinking it could be a serious accident up ahead, Thomas began to slow down. As he passed the police cruiser, he saw through his rearview mirrors that very same police cruiser rapidly accelerating to catch up with his vehicle. Oddly, instead of immediately pulling Thomas over, the police cruiser chose to follow him for about 3/4 of a mile. Finally, after several tense seconds, the police cruiser's lights were activated and Thomas promptly pulled over. I had the privilege to speak to Thomas about his case. He shared a wealth of information during our interview, prompting me to feature a significant portion of our conversation in this video. Here's what he had to say.
I'm Thomas. I was arrested April 28th, 2021 for DWI. I was a firefighter with Dallas Fire Department for 30 years. I was a paramedic for 14 of those years. And basically I was working in a light duty status, had a detached retina, and as a result, I still can't see. I had 5 surgeries. And the reason I say that is because my eye would get red and irritated sometimes. So I had just left the tax preparer's office. This was April 28th, so it was, but that's a year of COVID. They actually extended taxes so that you didn't have to have them by the 15th. But so anyway, I had that appointment. So, and typically I would work, I was on a light duty status. So I'd work 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, which before that I was working 24-hour shifts, which we do, if you're working at a fire station. So I had my taxes done and I was driving home from doing that. And I was, feeling pretty good because I kind of got more back than I expected, So I'm just doing my thing on my way, driving home. I come up over this bridge and I see the police SUV. The front end of his vehicle was in my lane. There's a little narrow area there at the end of the bridge where he was parked. But at first, all I saw was his vehicle. So I assumed it was a wreck. So when I see his car pointed at me like that, I immediately just slowed down. And I wondered, why is he sticking out in my lane like that. I just kind of slowly passed by, and as soon as I got past them, they wheeled around real aggressively and made a U-turn right there in the road and came running up on me from behind to within about 10 feet of my truck. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? He just was riding me like that with no lights or sirens, but he backed off a little and kept following me, and ended up he followed me for 3/4 of a mile. So I'm just kind of coasting along wondering, is he going to pull me over or not? Then he hit his lights, and so I was already ready to pull over. I went ahead and pulled over, and they pulled up behind me, and he came up to me, and the girl actually approached me first. Now, I'll say it now because, she was very inexperienced. She I think, did her job well. It's just that because it looked like she was probably doing some kind of internship or something, or a probationary kind of deal with her mentor or whatever he's doing, a trainer or something. And so she came up and asked me if I knew the speed limit. And I said, yeah, I think it's 50. And she said, and I said, why? How fast was I going? And she said, a little over that, right? And I thought, okay, I should be all right then, whatever. So I'm giving her my information, and I happen to give my fire department ID, which was right there with my license. I just gave it to him. And Deputy Brandt, the man, he snatches it out of her hand kind of strangely, like something about that ID bothered him, and looked at it. And then he reaches in, hands it back to me and says, need you to pull over up here, and we're going to get off the road and whatever. And I'm thinking, well, that's odd, for going a little over the speed limit, we're going to pull off the road. So anyway, I did it and got up there to find a good place to pull over. And there really wasn't a good place. It was kind of an area that it's just a long road between developments, where the road had been damaged a lot. And when they pulled up, or where I pulled over, I kind of pulled over off as far off the road as I could get, but it was a drop off, and there's a little ditch there and whatever. But I'm just saying that because they end up doing a field sobriety test right there on this broken up piece of road, and it's kind of a problem.
Hi there. Deputy James with the Denton County Sheriff's Office. You have your driver's license and proof of insurance? Hi, Bobby. You know what the speed limit is on the bridge? 50. Yeah, it's 50. You weren't going 50. Go a little over.
Hold on down for me. I'm back with you in a few minutes, all right? Oh, real quick, would you mind pulling up to that next intersection, take a right? We're going to pull into the neighborhood. Thank you.
So when they get back in their vehicle, they start talking, and he starts mentioning, what do you think of his demeanor? And she said, well, he looked irritated and whatever. He says, really? Because this is Deputy Brandt. He says, to me, he looked zonked out. And she said, what? And he said, zonked out. He looked zonked out. He was moving real slow and all this, right? I'm thinking I wasn't moving at all, really. I was just sitting there for 1 minute, actually, because that was about how long the encounter, with them took when they came up to my truck. How did they come up with all this, description?
How's his demeanor seem to you?
Apparently there's a big car right now.
Is it annoyed that he's
Yeah,
pulled over?
let me pull over.
Was he annoyed? He almost seemed like zonked out.
What?
He almost seemed like he was zonked out. Just watching him just move around very slow.
It was moving pretty slow.
Hmm?
It was moving pretty slow.
So, I mean, firefighter stops in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
So there's some things that aren't matching right now. So go ahead and run him. I may go up and do a secondary contact a little bit closer on the driver's side and look at him a little bit closer. How's interesting to you?
Apparently there's a pit car right now.
He's annoyed that he's pulled over.
Let me pull over. See
Was
where
it
he's taking me. That makes
He
me
must seem like
going
zonked out.
on.
He what?
It almost seemed like he was zonked out. Just watching him just move around very slow.
He was moving pretty slow.
Hmm?
He was moving pretty slow.
So, I mean, firefighter stops in the middle of traffic.
Yeah, that
So
doesn't
there's
make
some things that
sense.
aren't matching right now. So go ahead and run him. I may go up and do a secondary contact a little bit closer on the driver's side and look at him a little bit closer.
Okay.
And then he brings up, he says, well, you know, he's a firefighter and he stopped in the middle of traffic. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? Number one, what difference does it make if I'm a firefighter? Number two, I didn't stop in the middle of traffic. I slowed down when I saw his vehicle parked in my lane, you know, wondering what's going on. I mean, so slowing down like that caused him to say that I was stopped in the middle of traffic. And, you know, this all ends up getting written down on the probable cause statement. So he's just lying, right? And he passes that on to a magistrate or whoever approves the rest of the PC statement and all that, which I find kind of, you know, illegal for the most part. You know, I mean, they basically are using probable cause that didn't occur to accuse me of committing a crime. I don't drink at all, right? I haven't for like over 30 years.
You asked where you're coming from or anything?
No. I was asking if he knew the speed limit.
Sam, Ida, you can look at motion. First name is going to be
Come on. Hello, I'm Deputy Brandt with the Denton County Sheriff's Office. I didn't catch you earlier. Where are you coming from today?
From Trump's
Okay. Have you had it
Lake Village,
over where?
Lakewood Village.
Over in Lakewood Village?
Lake Dallas.
In Lake Dallas? Okay. How much you had to drink today? What have you taken today? You taking no prescription narcotics or anything like that? No? Okay. Are you prescribed anything?
Actually, I prescribed Adderall. Take that occasionally.
Okay. When was the last time you took that?
I took some today, earlier when I was at work.
Okay, when you at work? What time do you work today?
From 7 till like 3.
Okay. 7 to 3? Where at?
Downtown Dallas. I work for the fire department.
Okay.
But right now I'm on light duty.
Okay.
So
Before?
I'm working with communications.
I got you. Okay.
For my eye, I had a detached retina a few years ago, and then I've had 5 surgeries since then. And
Okay.
it's now starting to cloud out.
Okay.
Anyway, but they won't let me work in the field.
I got you. All right. I'll be right back with you, all right?
After watching this a few times, I can tell they had predetermined they're going to pull me over or they're going to try to get a DWI out of it, right? Because this started right away. I mean, his first words were for me to pull off the road so, you know, he could go ahead and do this field sobriety test and all that. And he's playing nice, right? What he's doing, he's trying to calm you down and get you comfortable so you'll talk or whatever. I have a big problem with this whole thing about police lying when they're doing things. I think this guy probably can't even tell the difference between when he's lying and when he's not. He's probably convincing himself that he's not lying. Anyway, he asked me, so how much have you had to drink? And I said, nothing. I'm thinking that's probably a standard question they ask, right? And then he says, are you taking narcotics? And I was like, no, I'm not taking narcotics. And then he asked, well, do you take any other prescription medicines? And I said, well, I take Adderall. And I'm kind of going like, why is he asking me all these questions about medication or medical issues and whatever? And, you know, I explained to him about my eye that I wouldn't have ordinarily done that, except that if it was red and it looked like there was something wrong, because I have a blue haze over it. It's kind of like you could tell I can't see. I went ahead and explained it. And he asked me about where I work. And, you know, I explained to him too that I was on light duty, because I'm thinking they know I work a 24-hour shift ordinarily, that firefighters work 24-hour shifts usually. In fact, I went in early that day because of my tax appointment. If I looked confused or whatever about the hours I was giving, that's why. I was just like, oh, I've been moving around. So I had to think about it. I didn't think they were test questions, but they were, and I failed them. If you watch the rest of the video. But I told the truth. But I was a little apprehensive too, because I've been a paramedic for 14 years, you know. Police asking medical questions, there's HIPAA laws where your privacy is protected. So because of this very thing, they're not doctors. I don't really want to talk about my medical history. You know, said I was going a little over the speed limit. Well, why am I having to pull off the road? Well, they made that clear shortly after by they go back to the car, and this is all on the body cam, which this is, you know, blew me away seeing the body cam, because I had no idea what these guys are thinking behind the scenes. And so their conversations were I'm just blown away. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're, you know, making this stuff up.
It's a better excuse for his eye. He's still acting kind of odd. Do you think he's normal, or do you think he's just lethargic? Mm-hmm.
Slow moving. Still talking.
Very. Do you think it possibly could be intoxicated?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you feel you want to run him through the rest of his STs?
You think? Say that again.
You want to run him through the rest of his STs?
Okay.
When you pull him out, qualify him for the HGN, he may not be a candidate, especially if he has detached retina. That may not be an option. So one thing about HGN, 1 second. 3438. Can you start me cover for a 55 investigation? So, like for us hypothetically, like he did not have a left eye, the right eye can still do HGN. You would just only get 3 clues out of it.
Yeah.
Because even if, like, whenever they go to teach like first aid on like eye trauma, they obviously tell you, you know, you want to cover up the good eye, because the bad eye will force the good eye, the good eye will force the bad eye to do things it shouldn't do, like, I don't know, move and possibly damage it further if it's been impaled.
Oh, okay.
And so even if he has, like, only one good eye, we can in theory still do HGN on him.
Tell him to cover up his bad eye?
We're going to let him run with it open,
Okay.
because even as you do HGN, as you work the good eye out, you're still going to see signs of that.
Okay.
He mentioned Adderall. Adderall's a stimulant. So we may not see HGN on a stimulant. We should see a lot of other stuff. In fact, on a stimulant, we should have some dilation. So if his eyes are pretty dilated.
He's acting so lethargic. You think it's...
So that's some of the indications of like a stimulant. He's very rigid.
Yeah.
Like very weird, like a lot of weird body movements, almost like a lot of that stuff going on. And at the same time, like you said, he's very lethargic. He doesn't appear to be like tracking very well. Speed is a big indicator for intoxicated driving, as well as
Going way too slow.
given his like career path, he should know like how to pull over for a vehicle. And he pulls over like right after a blind curve, puts in a bad place.
Yeah.
He was very slow to move everything out of his wallet and just kind of maneuver in general. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see the best way to kind of set him up.
Since we have this messed up part right here in the gravel, there's like a straight path right there.
Fine with that. I'm just eyeballing the illustrator. Go ahead and let's pull him out. We'll just talk to him outside of the car for a little bit. When he gets out of the truck, watch his movements. Okay. That's one of the best indicators. See, is he holding on to the car for support? What's his gait look like? He told us, you know, he's on light duty because of his eye. Everything else should be fine. So we'll see what comes of that. Okay. So we'll go from there.
So he says, well, he looks really lethargic. And so what he's doing, he's trying to build a case already. Now he's guiding her along. In fact, he'll ask a question to her and then he'll answer it for her too. Like, does he look lethargic? And she'll be like, well, he looks kind of agitated or something. And he'd kind of cut her off and say, he looks zonked out to me, you know, something like that, where he's clearly guiding her through this. She had 2 weeks on at the time, so I'm sure he's trying to impress her with his skills. He pulls out a card, starts reading off the symptoms for Adderall, what it is and the symptoms of it. He was reading it. Starts out talking about me being zonked out and all this, right? And he said, he even goes as far as to say, he's zonked out like he's not on this earth. As soon as he's done asking about the symptoms and all this stuff, he just goes straight into, do you think we should do a field sobriety test? And she says, yeah, we can do that. And he starts saying, well, here's what we should find. That's when he starts naming off all the symptoms. And he's saying, this is what we should find. And that's what he finds, whether it's really happening or not. When they finally get out, he does this little, you know, we're just going to get him out and have a few questions to make sure he can drive and all that. Even though they followed me 3/4 of a mile before pulling me over and another half a mile they watched me driving while I was on the bridge. I mean, it was well over a mile. They observed me driving and now they're going to try to make sure I can drive. I think originally when he started, he was going to try to get a DWI for alcohol or something, right? But after I told him I took Adderall, everything shifted. But he already said I looked zonked out previously, so I think he just went along with it.
Hey, sir. Yes. Can I have you step out of the car for a minute? I'm just going to stand in between our two cars so we're out of the traffic, okay?
Let me roll this up.
Okay. All right, I'm just standing at the back of the car. That way we're out of the road. Looks like your left eye's the one that's a little fuzzy.
No, my right eye.
Or, yeah, my left. Yeah, you're right.
What happened to your eye again? I only caught part of it.
I had a detached retina, and then the subsequent surgeries have led to it. It's kind of got a blue haze right now.
Yeah.
And so it's just hard to see through this eye, but sometimes it gets kind of irritated and it turns red, and I don't know if it is now, but
it looks irritated right now.
Yeah. Is it really? And
yeah, it looks.
Is this one
looks clear?
Clear. Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. When's the last time you took any medication today?
Oh, like 2 o'clock or something. Like
at this point, I just want to ensure you're safe to operate a vehicle. Just given kind of everything I've seen so far, I just want to make sure you're safe to operate your truck. So we're going to run you through just a few standardized field tests, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay. All right. Have you ever had a traumatic brain injury?
No.
Okay, nothing like that. Other than detached retina, any other medical issues?
No.
Okay. Nothing like that?
No, nothing physical?
Diabetes, hypertension?
Well, I've had hypertension. I take medicine. I was taking medicine for it. But...
Okay. Other than Adderall, are we taking anything else right now?
No.
Just Adderall?
Yeah.
And what's the Adderall for?
Attention deficit
ADHD?
Yeah.
Okay, or ADD? Okay. All right, you can set them up.
Okay, just stand right here on the flat ground, facing me. Put your legs together, feet together like this. Keep your arms down by your side like this. Okay? Actually, you're way taller than me, so I'm gonna have you stand like this.
Okay.
There we go. Now I can reach and see your eyes better.
I shouldn't have really done the field sobriety test, but I had two medical problems. I have my eye and I have a tumor on the nerve that goes to my ear. That goes from your brain to your ear. So that tumor pinches down on that nerve and causes, like, I have hearing loss in my left ear. So I'm blind in one eye and deaf in one ear. But it also goes to your center of balance, your equilibrium, right? So in that inner ear. Now, I've had this treated like 10 years ago, and it's not noticeable. I live with it, so I didn't notice any difference like in my balance or agility or anything like that. I mean, I'm used to fighting fires, right? I'm climbing up on roofs at night and that kind of thing all the time. And they've already made up their mind. They're going to arrest me by then, right? And I don't know this. So I'm thinking, when I was younger, I could do a field sobriety test on my hands. I could walk around like that and whatever. And my agility was superior. I'm thinking, I'm just going to get out and blow them away and they'll have no grounds to take me to jail or whatever. Even though I know that I've heard that if they get to a field sobriety test, that means they're going to fail you and you're going to be arrested. What these police are doing, like as if they get you to kind of play along with them and then all of a sudden they slam you.
All right, look at the tip of the pin. Don't look anywhere, or don't move your head. You're just going to look at the pin, at the tip of the pin only, okay? Whenever I move the pin, you're just going to follow it with your eyes, nothing else. Okay. I'm going to go up, but don't, move your head around. Turn your head around backwards. You're not going to be able to see it if I go up from there. Okay. Does it look pretty good? Okay. Does it look pretty good? Okay, the next test, stand over here in the grass real quick. That way I have a flat surface to walk on too. Okay, now you're just gonna watch me right now, okay? So imagine there is an inch long line right here in front of you, or right in front of me. I'm gonna put you right here so you have a flat surface too. You're gonna imagine an inch wide line that's straight in front of you, okay? Put your left foot on it. Pretend one is in front of you too. Actually, you stand there. You stand there and I'll stand off.
Okay.
I changed my mind. Okay. Now, pretend there's the straight line right in front of you. It's an inch wide. Okay, put your left foot on the line.
All right.
Right now, put your left foot on the line. Yeah.
Imaginary line, right?
Okay, and then put your right foot right in front of your left foot with your heels touching your toes. And then keep your arms down by your side. Remain like that until I tell you to start the test, okay?
Okay.
Now, this is the test. And keep your arms down by your side. You're gonna take 9 heel-to-toe steps forward.
Okay.
Do on your lead foot, stable. Take a series of small steps until you turn back around, and then you're gonna take 9 heel-to-toe steps back. It's gonna look like this. 1, 2, 3. Series of small steps. 1, 2, 3. I did 3 on both. You're gonna do 9. Okay? Do you understand all the rules?
I do.
All right, look down at your feet when you're walking. Stay on the line. Do heel to toe. 9 steps there, 9 steps back. Keep your arms down by your side.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. 1, 2. And then turn around and go back?
Yep.
Okay. Jeez, I don't know why my legs are so weak. Jeez, I don't know why my legs are so weak.
Said your legs feel weak?
Yeah.
Is that not normal?
I've been on light duty for a while, and I just haven't been sitting.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been working out much either. Just,
Does normal walking make you feel unsteady like that?
no, not really. I mean, like, I don't walk fine here, you know. But, just feel.
Okay, well I got one more test for you, okay? Turn around and face me, put your feet together, arms down by your side. And then keep your arms just like that and your feet just like that until I tell you otherwise, all right? Okay. You understand? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the next test, you're gonna raise 1 foot, either one, approximately 6 inches above the ground, with your foot parallel to the ground. You're gonna look down at your foot, keep your arms down by your side, count out loud, 1001, 1002, 1003, until I tell you to stop.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, remember, look down at your elevated foot, keep your arms down by your side, and count out loud.
Okay.
And give me 1 second, let me, wait. 1 second, let me get you set up.
This is kind of like, you know.
Would you like to face a different direction?
Well, I mean, this is
Yeah.
slanted here. Can I stand on, or face
You can
this
stand,
way?
yeah, wherever you feel is flat.
Okay, this is good.
You good right there? All right. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. How many was it?
You keep going until I tell you to stop.
Oh, okay. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 16.
Okay, you're good.
Okay. If you watch the field sobriety test, my balance is bad. And I mean, I'm holding my foot up and, you know, I know some people can have difficulty with stuff like that. But for me, I was surprised. And it's because of that tumor, you know, it's caused me my balance to be, you know, worse. That's the last field sobriety test I'm going to do ever, because I know that holding my foot up for however long, 30 seconds or whatever, I can't do it without, you know, wobbling around. In fact, I didn't even put my foot down. I was just all over the place, you know, trying to keep my balance. I stayed on 1 foot, but I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to fail this. Even walking a line was really difficult for me. She does 3 tests on me. He enters. So he says, well, I just want to do a couple more. And I'm thinking, you know, I mean, what are we going to do this all night or something? I mean, it's like, I've done 3 tests, whatever. I don't know what they're going to do next, but if it's a balance test, I'm probably going to fail that.
I just have like maybe 1 or 2 more I'd like you to run through real quick. Put your feet together, hand 2 by your side, and just face me. You can face me. We're not going to do anything with the feet this time. When I tell you to, I want you to tilt your head back. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine the passing of 30 seconds. You don't have to count out loud. I want you to keep it all inside your head. When I tell you to stop, let me rephrase that. When 30 seconds is done, I want you to bring your head forward and open your eyes and say time. Okay? So again, you're going to tilt your head back, close your eyes, and just imagine 30 seconds passing. And when 30 seconds have passed, come forward and say stop. Do you understand those?
Are you going to tell me when 30 seconds?
No, you're going to tell me when 30 seconds is up.
Okay.
The best of your knowledge. Do you understand that?
Eyes open?
Eyes closed.
Eyes
So you're going to tilt your head back and close your eyes.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
May I begin? Okay. How long was that?
30 seconds? Was that?
36. Pretty close.
Okay.
Have one more for you to do. Called a finger in the nose. Same thing. You're going to stand there. You're going to tilt your head back, just like this.
All right.
Look at me. Get your hands. Can you put your finger just like this?
Okay.
When I tell you, I'm going to pick a hand. When I say right, you're going to bring your right finger up. You're going to tip your finger to tip your nose. If this is your nose, I want to tip your finger to tip your nose. Not the size or not the pad. The
Okay.
tip to your nose. All right? When I'm going to call it a finger, I'm going to say right. You're going to bring your right tip, touch your nose, put it down. When I say left, bring your left finger up, touch your left tip to your nose, and bring it back down.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
All right, go ahead and tilt your head back. Right. And put it back down. Left. And put it back down. Right. Put it back down. You can put it down on your own. Left. Left. And right. Okay. You good? Go ahead and have a seat for me right there on the bed of your truck for a second.
Then they're going to have a little meeting. And this is when a whole lot is revealed. He starts, another guy shows up. They brought a backup, in case I was dangerous, I guess. So they brought this backup. And he starts asking the girl what she thought of the field sobriety test. And then he goes in, and as he does on the rest of it, and he starts filling in the blanks for her. But by now, she's already going along the way she's supposed to. If she's doing an internship, he has the power to pass or fail her, or, make certain remarks that might delay her, moving on in her career or whatever. Because I went through that as a paramedic. You're being observed for like 10 shifts by other paramedics who are going to pass or fail you. So there's pressure to do what they want to do and to do it right and all that kind of thing. So here she is kind of going along with him by now.
Started a little early, mostly because I wanted to kind of get him out and get going. HN?
I thought I saw it on like the 45, but like barely.
So
I don't know if he was.
something you're going to see sequential.
Okay.
So you literally see it at the beginning.
Okay.
And if you don't catch the first one, you shouldn't see anything afterward.
Okay.
It is a progression area setup.
Okay.
I told you probably wouldn't see it based on what he said.
I didn't see it.
So he admitted taking Adderall today at 3.
Adderall is a very commonly prescribed medication and is relatively safe if you don't overdose or if you don't try to take too much. If you follow the guidelines, it's like anything. Here's this police officer. He knows what he's doing. And he says, "Are you taking any prescription narcotics?" I was a paramedic. I know the different categories of medications. And I tell him no. Right after that, he says, "So are you taking any prescription medication?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm taking Adderall." Well, he turns around later on in the video and he says he admitted to taking the prescription narcotic. And I'm like, I'm a medical professional and you're asking me if I'm taking narcotics. I don't know if police what they call narcotics. I wasn't taking narcotics. I still say this. That's a lie. I was not taking narcotics. I mean, I had to get those things right. He can get them wrong if he wants, but don't charge me with a crime because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's not a narcotic. Put it that way.
Walk and turn.
Awful. Miscounted steps, turned wrong, stopped while walking, used arms.
He stepped out of position briefly during the introductory phase. And then how many on the one leg stand?
One leg stand, went to start too soon, swayed arms, swaying and raised
Start too
arms.
soon is not one. It's all movements.
Yeah.
That's all movements.
Swaying, used arms, and...
Put a foot down.
Yeah, because he asked how long does he have to count.
So his, on the Romberg, it's supposed to estimate 30 seconds to kind of see what it clocks at. Came in at 36 seconds, which is right on the edge of the window of error. Error is 25 to 35. So he's right on the edge, so the clock's a little fast, which marks stimulant. That's the stimulant side. And when I told him to close his eyes watching it, his eyes are fluttering like crazy, and his body's like super rigid. So I think he's very much on a stimulant. I don't know if that timeline's right. You can always ask him, like, what time do you think it is? Kind of gauge where his, like, orientation's at. So the weirdest part is he's a Dallas firefighter. We got him going 71 on the bridge. He then pulled off right there after the blind turn, right there in the right-hand lane, and stopped hard. He was very lethargic, almost like, she said he kind of came off, like, upset, but to me, it almost seemed like he zonked out. Like he's not on this earth right now. He has to very think about what he wants to say. He does have a messed up eye. He's on light duty. He has a detached retina. And so I asked him, like, well, what else besides your eye hurt? See anything else? No, just my eye. I mean, I gave him every opportunity to explain to me, like, legs aren't working right, arms aren't working right. He came out of the truck looking good, like walking pretty decent. A little heavy-footed, but like he wasn't stumbling out.
And then during the walk and turn, he said he didn't understand why his legs were so weak and awkward.
So, do you believe he's intoxicated?
I believe he's unable to drive from whatever he has. I don't know about
Is that a
alcohol.
medical emergency, or are we talking about intoxication?
Intoxicated on something, but I don't think alcohol.
Do you think they have like a medical emergency here?
No.
So if it's not a medical emergency, is he normal, or would we possibly he's intoxicated under something?
Yeah, I think he's
Okay.
intoxicated on something.
We're probably going to go that route. We're probably going to try to do a DRE. We'll try to do a DRE at the jail. Because
Okay.
I don't think it's alcohol. I don't see any signs of alcohol. I see some signs of the narcotic that he admitted to.
Yeah.
So we're going to go that route. He also has a dog in the car,
Yeah, I was about to say, I was about to ask you what we're doing with that.
ACO. He also lives local, so we're going to see if we can get somebody to come get the dog.
Okay.
We're going to attempt that.
Truck too, or just a dog?
We'll cross that bridge first. Let's first get him taken care of, and we'll address everything else.
Okay.
Prescribed Adderall?
What he said, is rated ADHD. No, he is zonked out.
He's a current firefighter.
He gave me a car. He alleged it. He says he's working a day shift schedule, like a 7 to 3.
Yeah.
He took Adderall after a shift. He said he come from Lake Dallas doing taxes.
Oh yeah. He said it for work, and then he said he took it at 3 and he got off at 3.
He said before work?
No, he said at work.
At work,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he took it at 3, which, why would you take it at the end of your shift?
That's the same question
So-
I'm asking.
There's some inconsistencies there we may have to address maybe during the Brandt interview.
I got you.
All right.
I got the rest.
You ready to roll it? You've been doing good so far. I want you to keep rolling it.
Okay,
I'll
so
step in when I need to.
like, go up and tell him, or we can't ask him any more questions because we already decided.
Our decision's made.
So go up and tell him one more test, put your hands behind your back.
Go that route if you like to, or you can tell them point blank. I've done it both ways, depending on their engaging. If I feel like they're being compliant, I'll tell them, hey, be advised, or be placed on rest room. I'm intoxicated, turn and put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
If I don't believe that's going to work, I'll play the trigger. I'll be like, hey, turn on one more test, turn around for me, and that's what I'll do.
Okay.
I gauge the guy when I do that. I think we can go either direction with him.
Okay.
We are going to definitely try to get somebody in the family to come pick up the dog. If somebody can pick up the truck too, I'm down for that too. I have no
Okay.
interest in telling people trucks if I don't have to.
Cool.
We will do a search into arrest, see if we find any evidence related to our offense.
Okay.
Especially if we believe it's a narcotic DWI, we're going to try to find a narcotic.
Okay.
I mean, most people don't leave the narcotics at work, so it's probably on his car somewhere.
Yeah.
So, all right.
He goes, I really think he's on stimulants. It finally concludes this, right? He goes, I don't see any signs of alcohol. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? They just rattled off all this stuff about my hands moving too slow, lethargic, zonked out as if not on this earth, is what he says. And moving too slow, talking too slow, all this stuff. And then I don't see any signs of alcohol. That's because I told him I'd take Adderall, and that's what he decided to pursue. Charges for what they're calling drug intoxication now. I mean, he's making up symptoms that would indicate that I am overdosing. There's a zonked out as if not on this earth when I'm clearly talking and answering questions, but he's all over the place on this stuff. Then he starts asking about the times that I mentioned when they asked when I took my medicine, and they have a big discussion, and he says, well, he said he took his medication after work. And she jumps in and says, no, he said he took it at work. And he goes, okay, so what time do you work? And they go through this. They don't even freaking know what time I took it. I told them, but they forgot. So they're going over this, and he ends up going, well, why would he take it at 3 o'clock when he gets off work? And I'm going, it's none of their damn business why I take and when I take my medicine. You know, if it's within that range, then whatever. I mean, I'm not intoxicated on something I took 3 hours ago, you know, or 4 hours, whatever it was at the time. Anyway, and it's something I've been taking for like about 18 years. I'd been taking Adderall. He talks about my pupils being dilated. I sent you a picture of my pupils. It was from the mugshot, which was only about a half hour later, right? That's not, I was a paramedic. I checked pupils every time I made a run for 14 years, and I know what dilated pupils look like. And my pupils weren't dilated. That's perfectly normal. So for him to use that as evidence of intoxicated driving is ridiculous.
Hey, sir, we are putting you under arrest for driving while intoxicated. I believe that you're unsafe to drive. Stand up, put your hands behind your back. Turn around.
Do you have anything in your pockets that would hurt me or poke me?
keys and my glasses.
Okay. Do you have anybody at home who could come here and pick up your dog?
Yeah.
Possibly your truck?
Yeah.
No one at home?
Do you have a friend that could get your dog?
I don't know.
Can't think of anybody?
No, I mean, I'd have to make some phone calls.
Like I said, if you're willing to give me somebody to call, I'll personally call myself. If not, I'm going to have to call my animal control officer, and they're going to pick up your dog. And they're going to put him in our shelter for the night. I'm just trying to avoid that option.
I haven't had a drink in over 30 years.
Let's say you're a drinker, sir.
I didn't have a drug in over 30 years.
Want that broken read? He works for my agency. I got to call him to come over here with me.
Where is it?
Where is this in Denton? About 5 minutes from our jail. Get over a little bit. Go ahead, a little. Take your hand over here. Up a little bit, you'll find that little gap. There you go. Open the door. So we're going to read you a quick little DIC
You see that?
form.
You are under arrest for an offense arising out of acts alleged to have been committed while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place.
Can I get a specimen of your blood?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to do it at our jail so I can do a one-stop shop. If not, we'll have to stop by the hospital first, but I'll let you know that here in just a couple minutes, okay? Thank you, sir.
When he tells you you're going to be arrested, some individuals may say he doesn't seem very concerned. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just didn't think in my wildest dreams they were going to take me in for a DWI. They have those little intoxilizers and, no problem. I'd blow into it. It'll show 000. Well, they don't do that. These guys don't. They didn't have it in their car. They did it when I got to the station. It's my opinion that they don't do that so that they can arrest you for something else if you don't have alcohol in your system. And in my case, I'm quite sure they know I didn't have alcohol in my system, and he knew what I had in my system because I told him, they're going to arrest you. You're going to go to jail. There's nothing you can do about it now. I'm not going to talk my way out of it. So I just kept my mouth shut. The inner voice is telling me, keep your mouth shut. Don't say something stupid. Well, my dog is almost 1 year old.
That's a sweet dog.
Yeah, he's been nice to him.
Oh, absolutely. Your dog has been nothing but sweet to me. I can definitely pay that favor forward.
Probably freaking out right now, then.
He's absolutely sweet. And I have a very, very kind ACO on tonight, too. He'll treat him just like his own. And I'll give you information at the jail where he's going. I want to see if I have a DRE on. Northeast has usually a lot of DREs for their agency. Drug recognition expert. We'll need that to help this case out. I don't need an intoxilizer. I'm going to do a blood draw. Do they have somebody who can do the blood draw? I want my DRE. I need a DRE tonight. Are any of your guys available for a DRE today? I'll let you know in just a second. I'm confirming if we can do this at the jail.
Phlebotomy good.
First?
Good for a blood draw.
Awesome.
My fault.
Thomas was arrested for driving while intoxicated.
When I get to the jail, then they do a blood and breath test. So the breath test says 0.000. And then, so they take a blood test. Well, the blood test, they have to send off. So they send it to a lab. In a month, the lab gets the results, and they send it off to another lab to be tested for drugs. I'm livid by now about this bullshit, man, because I didn't do anything wrong. I went and did my taxes, going home like a good boy. I'm going to get something to eat, mind my own business, and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Just do my thing. And all of a sudden, I'm going to jail instead. And I'm thinking they're going to let me go like in an hour or something, you know, because I'm not drunk, right? I have no idea that this guy in his mind had painted this picture of me being zonked out as if not on this earth, even though in the field sobriety test, you can see I'm not zonked out. I was not aware that they're out there with their pen lights looking in your eyeballs, determining what kind of drugs you're taking and that kind of thing. There is something wrong with the system where he's able to just do that. And in his case, he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. It's like, woohoo, you know, I got some overtime off this one. That guy is a little bitch. I mean, he fucking took me in and left me there for 20 fucking hours. Then it cost me $1,000 to get out, $450 to get my truck out of towing. They took my dog and put him in the pound. He was not even a year old yet. And I was worried about him. I didn't know if, you know, what they would do with my dog, and you know what I mean? It's like, so then I get a lawyer and it's another $3,000. I was just advised by people who know better, get the best lawyer you can get, which is like, I can't afford the best lawyer I could get, but I try to get a good lawyer, and I get a lawyer and it costs $3,300. So now I'm up to over $4,000, right? $4,500 already. I had to get an Uber to get home because it's 20 miles from the jail, you know? I mean, it just like little things like that add up. They actually get incentives to make arrests. A lot of departments give awards, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving gives awards for the most arrests of an officer in their department. You'll see like an awards banquet for somebody who made like all these arrests for DWI, and they'll be like 4 times as many as the next guy on the, you know, on the list. It's like, there's something wrong here. But then you'll hear him in his acceptance speech saying, if I can just save one person from being killed against a drunk driver, then I've done my job. And I thought, you're just going to arrest everyone then. Don't go around making up arrests and fraudulently arresting people. There's another one, a federal grant program that departments can get money for, and they will train police and sheriffs to determine what kind of drugs you're taking when they shine a pen light in your eyeball, right? And I'm like, there's no way they can do that. There's no way. There are certain times when somebody is highly intoxicated, those signs and symptoms are very evident. I dealt with crackheads, I dealt with heroin addicts and all this kind of stuff. They have definite signs if they are that bad. So when someone's passed out and breathing, 4 times a minute from shooting up with heroin, they usually will have pinpoint pupils. We call it pinpoint, but very constricted pupils. In my situation, look at my eyes. That's normal pupils. I'm not going to go to a doctor when I drop a patient off and say that his pupils are abnormal in any way, even though mine are, in that one of them you can't even see, but he marks it down as my pupils being dilated. So the statute of limitation on a DWI arrest is 2 years. If they haven't filed the case within that time period, the case is dismissed automatically. And so I waited until about 12 days after the expiration date. April 28th came up, 2023, and I'm like, okay, I haven't heard anything. And so therefore the case should be dismissed. But I thought, the way this is all gone, they might just change their mind and say, oh, we're going to do it anyway. You know what I mean? So I waited an additional 12 days. Then I called up my lawyer and said, hey, isn't there a statute of limitations up on my case? And they said, yeah, we'll file for a dismissal. And they put in for a dismissal. It was granted. And check this out. I called my lawyer this day. The following day, my lawyer puts in for dismissal to the magistrate or to the judge, whoever. And that same day, I guess the prosecutor said they got the blood test that morning. What are the chances of that? This is, to me, I think they do this deliberately or something.
Did they ever tell you the results of the blood test?
No, never received the results.
I just want to be very, very clear on why this case was dismissed. Your case was dismissed because of the statute of limitations, not because of your blood test results coming back negative.
Correct. I would say this, if they're testing for Adderall specifically, then it would probably show up. But Adderall is, I had a prescription, I'm taking it legally. A lot of people take it legally. He's teaching other people to do this. He clearly is instructing this young female in that video on his little bag of tricks on how to get someone arrested, even if they're not drunk. You know what I mean? It's like he's trying to act slick and all this kind of thing. With her, she's a young police officer. I'm looking at her thinking, this could have been a good, officer. She could have been a good addition to some sheriff's department and police department. He's ruining her. And then that other guy in that video who showed up, the backup guy, he looked like he was probably young too, or new maybe. And he's teaching them how to do this. He's telling them what he's doing is verbalizing for his body cam. He's verbalizing so that if this is used as evidence, because it very well could be and probably would be if it went to court, while he's verbalizing this, he's reinforcing what he sees. After seeing how he lies and exaggerates and all this stuff, I don't believe anything he says. This guy's just a liar, man. It's inherent. I mean, he's just like, it's in his DNA now. I mean, he doesn't need to be out there arresting people.
How would you go about things differently?
Well, first of all, I just wouldn't talk at all. But like I said, I have a history with the police. I've worked with them a lot. From now on, I won't do a field sobriety test, obviously. I'm not talking about my medical history. I'll give them my name, my driver's license, and I just ask them, are you going to arrest me or not? Because I don't drink, I don't do drugs. If they're going to arrest me, they're going to come up with something. And that's clear when they did this in this traffic stop in the videos. I'm just not going to say really much of anything. If they ask me where I'm coming from, I'm just going to say I'm not talking.
Do you plan on filing a lawsuit? Why or why not?
I'd like to, but I don't really know how to. And I've checked with lawyers, and they are very, very reluctant to take on a case of a false arrest, false DWI arrest. They say the Fifth Circuit Court, one lawyer told me this, the Fifth Circuit Court, about 100% of the time, he said almost 100% of the time, will not overturn that case. I cared about my job. I lost my job because of this.
So essentially, this bogus charge has had a massive negative impact on your life since.
Yeah, absolutely. I put it this way too. I had other plans. I have to retire. Part of it was because of my eye, and they won't admit that it was because of this DWI. But the reason that the DWI was related was because I was going to a class to become a dispatcher. And once I got charged with DWI, they told me, hey, we're going to have to transfer you. You can't go through our class now because you won't be allowed on the floor in the dispatch room because they have access to sensitive information. You have to get a clearance of some kind through the city. And therefore, I had to leave. They cut me out of the class and I had to go somewhere else.
In the end, Thomas's DWI case was dismissed because the statute of limitations had expired. In Texas, the statute of limitations for a DUI is 2 years, which means that the district attorney has a 2-year window from the date of the incident to press charges. If the DA fails to file charges within that time frame, the case is considered time barred and the DA cannot proceed with an arrest. That's precisely what occurred in this particular case. During our interview, Thomas brought up a really good point. Throughout the entirety of the police body cam footage, you can clearly see and hear Deputy Brandt guiding rookie Deputy James. It doesn't entirely excuse her, but the instigator and the arbitrator of all this does seem to allegedly be Deputy Brandt.
You can't ask him any more questions because we already
Our
decided.
decision's made.
So go up and tell him one more test, put your hands behind your back.
Go that route if you like to, or you can tell them point blank. I've done it both ways, depending on their engaging. If I feel like they're be compliant, I'll tell them, hey, be advised, or be placed under arrest for intoxicated, turn and put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
If I don't believe that's going to work, I'll play the trigger. I'll be like, hey, turn on one more test, turn around for me, and that's what I'll do. I gauge the guy when I do that.
She asked him, well, what do I do? How do I put the handcuffs on? So he tells her, you just tell him, turn around and put the handcuffs on. But if he resists, what I do, here's his little trick, the handcuff trick, right? He says, if I think he's going to resist handcuffs, I'm going to tell him, turn around, we're going to do another test. And then I'll surprise slip the handcuffs on, right? I'm like, someone's going to resist putting handcuffs on. So you tell them, we're going to do another test. Then they're going to turn around. And while they're turned around, you're going to somehow convince them to put their hands together behind their back and then sneakily slip the hand. He's making this bullshit up to impress his girlfriend, I guess, Anyway, he calls himself the tricker. I'll play the tricker. Turns out that handcuff trick, that's what, you ever heard of John Wayne Gacy? He's a serial killer. He used to capture little boys that way, right? He buried them under his house after he killed them, but he do this thing he calls the handcuff trick. He'd get them to put the handcuffs on or whatever. Well, this deputy is doing the same freaking thing, man. Like he's thinking like a predator.